Hi everyone, this is Chantay. I'm here with a week in review of my analysis. It's been one trying week. I lost my aunt this past weekend. We just laid her to rest. Hey cousin, we just laid her to rest. So it's been one heck of a week trying to get my work done. Felt, focus was, in and out, but I'm here, and my aunt is resting comfortably in peace. So I want to thank everyone who text, call. Thank you, Joseph. Text, call, or send a message, a direct message. I appreciate it. So thank you. But I am here with COVID, and here we go. So in 189 countries around the world, including the U.S., we have 45,475,639 cases of COVID-19. Hey, the death toll is 1,187,014. Now, in the U.S., we have 9,034,957. The death toll is at 229,585. Now, India, they are not too far. They're at 8 million. Brazil is at 5.4. 5,494,376. Russia is at 1.5, which is at 1,588,000. France is at 1.3. That's another country that reached in the millions. We have Spain at 1.185 million. We have Argentina at 1.157 million, 1,457,179, and Colombia at 1,053,122. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 8 countries on the globe that have over 1 million cases, including the U.S. And we're still the top because we're at 9 million. We're almost at 10 million. UK is almost on that trajectory at 992,874. Mexico's at 912,811. Peru's at 897,594. So we're in wave 3. We're behind France in terms of the wavelength, but not in the number of cases. And there's a possibility that some states might close down probably after election day. Latin America, you see Panama at 132,000, Dominican Republic at 126,000, Guatemala at 107,000, Nigeria at 62,000, about almost 63,000, Kenya at 53,000, which they have surpassed Ghana at 48,000. And then you have places like Haiti at 9,057, and right behind them is Jamaica at 9,005. You have Cabo Verde, which is Cape Verde, at 8,694. You have Trinidad and Tobago, Bahamas at 6,644. Trinidad and Tobago at 5,668. Guyana at 4,143. Belize at 3,382. Barbados at 236,100 cases. Antigua at 127 cases. St. Lucia is at 78 cases. St. Vincent at 74. Dominica at 38. Grenada at 28. And St. Kitts at 19. All these numbers are on the Johns Hopkins website, so you can look at it. It's public knowledge. You can look at it for yourself. Now, in terms of the U.S., according to the New York Times COVID map, which you can subscribe for free, Texas has now surpassed California in the amount of cases at 941,851, followed by California at 928,240, Florida at 794,616, New York at 507,913, Illinois at 409,633, Georgia at 368,840, North Carolina 271,945, Tennessee at 253,265, Arizona at 244,099, And New Jersey runs up to the top 10, 238,316. Then you have other states that are hotspots, such as Wisconsin, which they have the worst infection rate. Besides, North Dakota had one of the worst infection rates in the country at 226,712. And they're on that trajectory near New Jersey in terms of the amount of cases. Ohio, 212,782. Pennsylvania, 210,551. And Missouri is also another outbreak at 187,006. And yet we still have no national plan. Yes, the economy has grew, but at the same time, there are still millions of Americans out of work. A lot of Americans, over 1 million Americans, are applying for unemployment. There's also 1 million Americans on the food bank line, and food banks are devastated. Not devastated, but they're more they're stressed in terms of supplying food. You have nurses, full-time nurses, are now on the food bank line because most of their salary is going to the mortgage because their spouse or their significant other has lost their job. So this is a situation that we're dealing with, and this is why I tell people all the time, and I say this time and time again, we must vote. I'm going to get into that message in a minute because when we vote, things change. And this pandemic was preventable. People say it's not. Some leaders doesn't say, but I'm saying this in my analysis. This pandemic was preventable. Donald Trump was offered test kits at a certain rate, not quite as sure, by the World Health Organization, also known as WHO, and Donald Trump refused them. Instead, he said this is a hoax. The Democrat Party's new hoax. It's not going away. All these things he was saying it was going to go away by Easter. What happens? This country almost have 10 million cases of COVID. We're not even the largest population on the planet. Well, on the globe, the planet, you could say that. We're only 328 million people here. 328 million point two. China has 1.393 billion people. Africa has the continent of Africa has more people, about that same amount in China, has a bigger population than the U.S. And their death toll is only at 41,000. China's death rate is way less. And you know what the U.S. death rate is? 229,585. We're 250,000 of the deaths. It's sad that we're the richest nation of the world and we can't even contain our own coronavirus. It's sad, it's devastating, and this is the situation that we're in. So that's why I'm saying to you all, you don't have to be in love with the candidates. It so happens I love the vice president candidate. Even though I respect the former vice president because he was a good vice president to the former president of the United States, beloved Barack Obama. But it's a matter of life and death. This election, every election is the most important election, but this here is consequential. This is the most important election of our lifetime. We're having multiple crises. It's five multiple crises. It's five crises simultaneously. 5 crises simultaneously we're dealing with. We're dealing with so much simultaneously. If I list the crisis to you, I'm going to say it again. We have a global pandemic resulting in a financial recession. A global financial recession, not a national, but a global. We're dealing with the climate change. We have erratic weather patterns going on, like it's cold. Last week it was warm. Like, this is not good for the planet. It's not good for the ozone. At that. Then we have racial reckoning. Breonna Taylor's murderers are still not arrested. Instead, one of the cops that killed Breonna Taylor is suing the boyfriend for emotional distress. Thanks to Kentucky AG, Bull Connor and Blackface, Daniel Cameron, that she did not get her justice. And now you have a constitutional crisis, which I'm going to get into, that we're dealing with. And if Donald Trump loses this, if he loses the election, the next thing he's going to do is try to sue the Biden campaign. So this is what the hell that we're dealing with. And this virus did come from China, but it spread it throughout the whole entire world. It's in Europe. It's in other parts of Asia. It's in Africa. It's in the West Indies. It's in North America, including the USA. And South America. So when he says this crap, it's bull, like Joseph said. And allowing people for overseas to come, he did. The Europeans. And you know where the Europeans come visit? They come here first. Because we're the city, the U.S. city that is easy to fly over from the Atlantic Ocean. So, yeah. Hey, cousin, how are you? So, once again, we're dealing with 5 crises. We got a global pandemic. We got a global recession, economic recession, climate change, racial reckoning, and a constitutional crisis. So I hope that you all went early voting, or if you're not early voting, please go and vote. Because this election is about you and your children and your children's children and many generations. So there you have it. And speaking of a constitutional crisis, we got Amy Coney Barrett's ass up in here getting, what is it? Oh, yeah, New York is a major hub. It's a major hub. We have, Amy Coney Barrett is now a Supreme Court justice sitting on the Supreme Court, who is inexperienced to sit on the Supreme Court. She only has 3 years of being a judge. She never tried a case as a judge. But she was a lawyer on the Bush versus Gore. So, yeah. Let me read one of the comments. Now that y'all shut down, Atlanta has an uptake in cases. We fully haven't shut down yet, but there's a possibility we might shut down again. New York might shut down again. I think certain cities might shut down again. I think certain states might shut down again because every state, it's 47 states that's seen a rising coronavirus cases. So, yeah. But with this Amy Coney Barrett, 52 to 48, that's on partisan line. No Democrat voted for her. One Republican did not vote for her. But I still don't trust Susan Collins for the many reasons. And the many reasons I don't trust her is because she voted for Neil Gorsuch, which he sits in a stolen seat. Brett Kavanaugh, who is a alleged sex assaulter. And she voted to acquit Donald Trump for abuse of power and obstructing justice. So I trust no GOP senator. I don't care how independent. I don't care how moderate they are. I don't trust them. I don't trust them. That's why we need to vote down ballot the presidency, the legislative branch, and in my county in New York City, there's the judicial branch. I voted for 2 justices, 1 black and 1 Asian, and they're both women. And got good credentials. One serves currently on the family court downtown near 60 Center Street. So there you have it. So that's why it's time to clean house. That GOP Senate got to go. And it starts with Addison Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Olin Graham, Susan Collins, Joni Ernst, Martha McSally, Kelly Lawford, David Perdue, John Cornyn, Tom Tillis. Those senators I just named, is probably less than 10. They have to go. Tennessee's supposed to get a new senator, and it might be the black lady, because there's a black woman in Tennessee running. There's a black guy in Louisiana running. Oh, I forgot. Cindy Hyde-Smith. She another one that gotta go. So if all those women in the GOP gotta go, the only GOP female senators will be left is Lisa Murkowski, Marsha Blackburn, and Shelley Capito of West Virginia. But overall, half of the GOP Senate are up for re-election. And so those who have GOP senators in these states, vote their ass out. It's time for them to go. If you decide by now that you need to get I said the same thing, cousin. I said the same thing. Because Amy Coney Barrett, let's give a little civic lesson about her. Amy Coney Barrett was groomed by the Federalist Society, as my cousin said. As Senator Whitehouse said, her judgeship is by dark money, Koch brothers, which is true. She's only been a judge for 3 years on the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals. She never tried a case. She is an originalist. And for those who don't know what an originalist is, originalism, which it stems from, is an interpretation, an original interpretation of the law in its original form. So pretty much, she goes by the original interpretation of the Constitution. So if you're black like me, she will consider you 3/5 of a person. If you are a woman, you're not in the Constitution. Forget about black. If you're a woman, you're not in the Constitution. And then if you're gay, oh, forget it. You're not even in the Constitution. Nor are other black and brown sisters and brothers, or yellow. The whole race creed. You're not in the Constitution. She don't consider you as an American citizen. I'll just say it like that. And I'm going extreme because that's true. She thinks that if you're part of the LGBTQIA community, you prefer that sexuality. It's your preference. It's your preference. And she was corrected on that. LGBTQIA is part of the equal opportunity on the application. I worked in HR. I know. It's their sexuality. I grew up in New York City. It's the land of LGBTQ rights. That's where the whole protest went on, downtown of me. So Amy Coney Barrett, and then she's not for women's reproductive rights. Like, she's a woman her damn self. I'm pretty sure with them 5 kids that she reproduced naturally, she had some problems. But she doesn't care. She doesn't care if you gotta get an abortion because you got raped, or that you have a pregnancy that's high risk that you might die during childbirth. She doesn't care. If you can't reproduce kids naturally, she will criminalize you pretty much for getting an IVF treatment. This woman doesn't care. She doesn't care about birth control. She sat on boards where they criminalize people for using IVF. She sat on another board where they don't allow kids who have LGBTQIA parents. This woman is not for progress. So for those who are undecided or sitting out this election, you are a damn idiot. Or how my mom says, a jackass idiot. Because you are. And I'll leave it as that. Let me read one of the comments. Cousin, I just read a bill that will screw... Yep. By the Trump administration. I'm going to get into the coons. Because I think I need to have a segment on them. And I'm not saying this to be mean, but I'm going to have a segment on it. But I'm going to get to the coons. But I'll just leave you with Amy Coney Barrett is a no. And the GOP voted for her this week, and half of them about to lose their jobs as of next Tuesday. Let's hope. Let's pray that they lose their jobs. But in this election, Biden versus Trump, they did their closing arguments. Of course, Joe Biden said, you may not like me, but I'll be your president. I'll be an American president. In which Donald Trump did not offer a clear vision of what he's going to do if he is reelected for the next 4 years. So I don't know why people still support him. Because I'm going to get into that too. Because he's an idiot. Always been an idiot. If you were born and raised in New York, you know that Donald Trump is no friend to black people, no friend to Spanish people. Even though he got the Spanish people that work in his hotels down on 59th Street, which that's not too far from where I live. Donald Trump is not your ally. Donald Trump doesn't care about you. He doesn't give a shit about black people. Doesn't give a shit about anybody of any race, creed, unless they're white. Yep. We know about his financial dealings. We know about him not paying no taxes. I mean, it wasn't a surprise to me. It wasn't a surprise to me at all. So there you have it. But if you took advantage of early voting, I went and did my early voting yesterday. There was hardly no line because it was raining. It was raining like cats and dogs up here. Like, it was OD raining. I know today I saw pictures of people going to early voting and the lines were long. Tomorrow and Sunday is going to be crazy because early voting stops here on Sundays. This man set fires to apartments back. Yep. And evicted people out of their apartments in the 1980s I think on the Upper West Side on 5th Avenue. I'm not quite as sure. But I did my early voting yesterday. My father did his on Wednesday. Then my mother and my sister did their mail-in ballots. So my father took their ballots to their polling site. And so I don't know exactly what my elder sister did, but I know she's probably going to do early voting, her and her husband, because they vote in a different area than they don't vote in the city. They're people, they live in Westchester. But everybody that I know did early voting. Even some people in my family, my extended family, like my cousin on here did early voting. A lot of people have done early voting, and early voting to me, I think it's better. I think this should continue because election day is always seemed to be goddamn chaotic all the goddamn time. And it shouldn't be chaotic. Nor you should be switching people's polling sites every 4 years since this gerrymandering shit. And that's why voting down ballot is important. Oh, yes, I'm glad that he voted. Yes, I'm happy for him. I'm happy for little cousin. But we need to turn out in numbers. And the turnout has been high. It's higher than President Obama's turnout. This turnout This turnout hasn't been this high, honestly, since 19, I think, '04. That's over 100, and that's damn near almost 120 years ago. That's nuts. That's crazy. Sure didn't. Yo, my mother, and I'm gonna tell a story about my mom. So my mom told me about voting. She told me when she was a kid, there was a lot of the adults that did not know how to write their name or know how to read their name. And she said when they will go to the school and vote, they will mark an X. And if they couldn't write their name as well, then their vote didn't count. So that's why my mom always like hammered the voting thing, and she will like literally pick our brains. She will like drive that down our throat. And even though my father was raised here in New York, but Northern Republicans will try to do stuff here to the people. My dad told me that. So voter suppression was happening even up north in New York. Like how crazy that is. And for them to switch my site every 4 years, I mean, like, why y'all doing that? Like, I had to vote all the way on the east side. Because I usually vote at the school at PS 144. But I end up voting then in the park in 2016 and for the last couple election cycles. And then this election cycle, I'm voting on the east side of Harlem. Like, what the hell? That make no sense. That's insane. The voting site should be back at the Pelham Fritz area. That's where it should be. This is gerrymandering. This is why local elections matter. And I always vote at local elections. Because the city council decide that, the state representatives decide that upstate New York just turned blue 2 years ago. So that's why elections, they matter. They matter. I know I'm going off the cuff and long-winded, but this is important because this is a consequential election. Elections change. When you vote, things change. And when you vote, you write to your congressman or congresswoman or councilman or councilwoman, whatever local officials that you have, and they will hold town halls with you. Either this virtual or in person. You vote. You know, you ask them for, a town hall. My mom went to board meetings. I think Community Board 10 when she was living in Harlem. And trust me, my mom went every time when they had it. She's like, girls, I'm going to the blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, Mom. But that's how you have to do it. Even if everything's going to be virtual until like 2022. So get prepared to join some virtual town halls and sit there and be like this. But everything's informative. So I'll just leave you with that. But in terms of cooning. Oh, okay, cousin. Lil Wayne. I'll just read the tweet because I wrote it down. So here it is. Just had a great meeting with @real Donald Trump at POTUS. Besides what he's done so far with the criminal. No, let me pull up my iPad. I'll just read the damn tweet. Because shit. This thing done pissed me off. So I'm going to just read it to you. Because I'm just like, what the hell is this crap that I had to sit there and listen to? Sit there and read. So, okay, here goes Lil Wayne's tweet. Just had a great meeting with @real Donald Trump at POTUS. Besides what he has done so far with criminal reform, the Platinum Plan is going to give the community real ownership. He listened to what we had to say and ensured we will and get it done. Okay. Lil Wayne. Dwayne Michael Carter. I'm going to say your whole name. Have you, literally... have you been paying attention to what this resident has done? How he has poked the bear on racial division and divided the country further? Let me just pull up this platinum plan. Y'all calling him a gremlin. I call him Mr. Carter. Dwayne. Because Dwayne needs some education. So let's help Dwayne. Dwayne's a little slow. So I read the platinum plan on my live stream on YouTube. You can check it out, but I'm going to just read some bits of it. Donald Trump's pillars. They call them his pillars, things that he have done. By achieving historical levels by achieving historical employment levels for Black Americans, as well as increasing access to capital for new businesses, Donald Trump has committed to ensuring all Black Americans can achieve the American dream. We all know that's BS. Auntie, cousin, you crazy. So we all know that Black unemployment has been going down since 2010. And the president in 2010 in that time was Barack Hussein Obama. So when Black people said, what has Barack Obama done for Black people? He lowered the Black unemployment rate. Let's keep going. Security. By signing into law the celebrated First Step Act, Trump has brought common sense criminal justice reform to American people for the first time in decades, while ensuring that our streets and communities are safe. I thought it was about Black Americans. Y'all said American people, aka white people. And the First Step Act was actually introduced in 2015 under President Obama. But who was the Senate Majority Leader in 2015 was Addison Mitch McConnell, also known as Mitch McConnell, also known as the Senate Grim Reaper. And he did not want to pass it under President Obama because he wanted to make him a one-term president. But the fact that President Obama was a two-term president, he tried to jam everything under his presidency. And this legislation was actually a bipartisan effort by Representative Hakeem Jeffries, Senators Dick Durbin, Kamala Harris, who's now the vice presidential candidate, Cory Booker, and Chuck Grassley. Out of all people, Chuck Grassley, the most conservative senator. Donald Trump, all he did was sign it. Because he don't read. He said all them blunts he smoking got him cooning. He said because they are making it easier for them to take over the weed trade. They're protecting their interests, these Black men. He said prosperity. As the first president to provide long-term funding to historical Black colleges, my cousin even pointed out that's a lie, and universities, this administration continues to seek immediate and generational advancement for Black Americans. No. That HBC funding, the 14% of that funding block was negotiated by Senators Kamala Harris and Doug Jones, the two Democratic senators. Donald Trump didn't do shit. Donald Trump wouldn't give a goddamn. He don't even know what an HBCU is. Until one of the guys, one of them Black guys who work for him know what it means. Donald Trump did not pay attention in the Wharton School of Business. Fairness, as demonstrated through his actions to initiate investment into opportunity zones. Opportunity zones don't help Black people. As well as address health disparities. wage gaps, and necessary education reforms, Trump works every day to advance a fair and just America for the black community. If you were to address fair health disparities, why is the ACA in court right now? Why you plan to strike that down after the election with no health care plan? None. None, 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 none. Education reforms. Where's the education reforms? And then his promises is 3 million new jobs for the black community. Like, what are the jobs? Creating 500 new black-owned businesses. Why you want to create them? You want to take responsibility of people's shit? That's violating the Hatch Act. Okay. If that is. Increase access to capital in black communities by almost $500 billion. That is a lie. Because the PPP program, during the height of the pandemic, black people were shunned out of it. And that's why black businesses, even here in New York, close. Some of them are surviving just the skin of their teeth, through Uber Eats and freaking Seamless and Grubhub. And also, Andrew Cuomo helping New York businesses. Yeah. Safe urban neighborhoods with highest policing standards. So you want cops in every black neighborhood? Lord have mercy. Yeah, like I said, because get the fuck out of here. And then in his better, cheaper healthcare plan, there's no name of the healthcare plan. Reduce costs and improve access to qualified healthcare through HRSA. Deliver real price transparency so that the cost before care is received. Opportunity to be in charge of your own health care and choose your own doctor. So pretty much he's saying, black people, you're on your own. You don't need our assistance in healthcare. And the ACA you will actually keep your own doctor, because I kept my doctor with the ACA for the last 10 years. I go to the same doctor when I was under Medicare before, when I was under my job insurance, now I'm under Medicaid again. I still go to the same place for the last 10 years. So what the fuck are you talking about? Eliminate long-standing healthcare disparities. What are the healthcare disparities that's affecting the black community? You didn't do no research. There's no percentages. There's no nothing. Increase access to telemedicine and innovate technology to empower patients with flexibility and tools for better health. And then I think before that it says investment into causes of cures of kidney disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, sickle cell, maternal mortality, and other diseases that disproportionate the African American populations. Black populations, because black people are African American, West Indian, particularly Jamaican, Trinidad, Guyanese. Defend religious freedom exemptions to respect religious believers and always protect life. Where are the percentages? There's no, let me show you how this looks. This is the policy. One page. Now, when you go to joebiden.com, you go to his website. Here we go. Joe's vision. See, Joe Biden got a lot of damn policies. Look, he got the Lift Every Voice plan. Where is it? Because my eyes are do. Lift Every Voice. Now, plan for LGBTQ Americans. Donald Trump doesn't. Lift Every Voice. He said 48 pages, Lord. So, Lift Every Voice plan, the Biden plan for Black America. Joe Biden knows that African Americans can never have a fair shot at the American dream so long as enriched disparities are allowed to quietly chip away at opportunity. He is running for president to rebuild our economy in a way that finally brings everyone along, that starts by rooting out systemic racism for our laws, our policies, our institutions, and our hearts. The mission is more important now than ever before as the health and economic impacts of COVID-19 was not mentioned in Trump's platinum scam, have shined a light on a cruelly expedite. Oh gosh, I'm messing up words. The disparities long faced by African Americans. In April 2020, Biden called on the Centers of Disease Control, also known as the CDC, and Prevention to collect more data regarding how COVID-19 is affecting communities, including breaking down its impact by race. And then here he says COVID-19 is also having a disproportionate economic impact on African American families. African American small businesses has been hit hard, and over 90% of African American owned businesses are estimated to be shut out of the initial relief program due to pre-existing systemic disparities in lending. This is especially dire given that African American families have less of a financial cushion to fall back on in hard times. Biden has been calling for the nation's relief and recovery efforts to be equitable and just, including by designing relief programs in ways that avoid methods we know lead to desperate outcomes so that funds can actually reach African American families, communities, and small businesses. Now, that's on Joe Biden's website. Joe Biden plan is freaking long. And then he says, tackling systemic racism and fighting for civil rights has been a driving force throughout Biden's career in public service. He has a record of fighting for and delivering for African American community. As a U.S. Senator, he co-sponsored the Civil Rights Act of 1990 to protect against economic discrimination and led multiple reauthorizations of the Voting Rights Act protecting African Americans' right to vote. Biden also led the efforts to reauthorize and extend the Fair Housing Act. As a Delaware senator, was a vocal advocate and supporter of Delaware State University, the state's historical Black university. Today, we need a comprehensive agenda for African Americans with ambition that matches the scale of the challenge, and with the recognition that race-neutral policies are at a non-sufficient responses to race-based disparities. Biden's plan will advance the economic mobility of African Americans and close the racial wealth and economic and income gaps. I'm reading it so fast. Oh my God. Expand access to high quality education and tackle racial inequity in our education system. Make far-reaching investments in ending health disparities by race. Strengthen America's commitment to justice. Make the right to vote and the right to equal protection real for African Americans and address environmental justice. Where's that in the platinum scan? Let's look at the platinum scan. Nowhere near it says anything about the health disparities. Prosperities for Black communities, he says, champion federal policies reforms to advance home ownership initiative. Where's that at? Make Juneteenth a national holiday. You know who blocked that? Rob Portman. So all this stuff he's talking about the health, where is it? It's nowhere near there. And Black people, we have so much health disparities, not just with our health, but the environment as well. Like, we have so much environmental shit going on with the water crisis, the air quality, which respiratory, lead. I can go on. Donald Trump's plan. So when Lil Wayne wants to endorse this fucking platinum plan, it's bullshit. I just read some of Biden's plan to you, and Biden's plan has percentages. For example, invest in African American businesses and entrepreneurs. Approximately 4% of small business owners are African American, even though African Americans make up approximately 13% of the population. To build wealth in African American communities, we must invest in the success of African American businesses and entrepreneurs. But Lil Wayne said Donald Trump is doing so much with criminal justice reform. He actually is investing in private prisons. See, what the problem I have with people like Lil Wayne, 50 Cent, and yes, motherfucking Ice Cube, because I read that contract with Black America, and that shit is bullshit. And them niggas ain't FUBU. They not for us, and they not by us. You will never be FUBU. Because FUBU wouldn't stand for your bullshit. FUBU will actually curse you out for supporting a white supremacist. Let that sink in, Lil Wayne, 50 Cent, and Ice Cube, and Herschel Walker, and Jack Brewer, and Jim Brown, and Steve Harvey, and Kanye. I don't care if you running for president, nigga. Y'all niggas ain't FUBU, and that's all I'm saying. But this is why we need to vote. And I'll say this again. We're dealing with 5 major crises, people. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if we don't get a handles on these crises, you know where the fuck we will be? Here, at home. Being away from my parents forever. I have not seen my mother in almost, 8 months. I haven't seen my mother. Nor my sister Kim. I haven't seen my elder sister Sheba in almost 7 months. And her husband. My father comes down once a week, but I can't hug my father. I wear my mask around my dad. And my dad wears a mask around me. Because of the era of Donald Trump, people have to be separated from their parents, and kids are locked in a border, and we're still dealing with racial reckoning. So if you want something systemically changed, if you want progress, then the ticket you should vote for is Biden and Harris. Like I said, you don't have to be in love with the candidate, but if you go to the website and read, you will be like, oh, this is good. I just read some of Lift Every Voice. I suggest you to go to joebiden.com and read some of the policies. But until then, please vote. We are 4 days, almost 3 days home stretch. And I wish you all a healthy weekend. Go vote. And the next time I see you, hopefully we have a president-elect. Not the same bullshit that's in the White House. Good night.